Alright, in this video I wanted to show off a stack. I've talked about some of this stuff before, but there's a specific stack dealing with the light element. This is actually a good... I might lose here in the process of just demonstrating each individual item before I do the whole stack. But the stack is what you see here. You have Shadowfall Raiment. This is called Undead or Gilded Leprechaun. We have the Deary Guest, which comes from this weapon here. And then you're going to use the Brilliance of Da. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to, let's dismiss the guest. Let's first start off with, let's just do a different armor here for the sake of it. Just do a different weapon for the sake of it. So I'm going to show off what this guest does here. It toggles between normal damage and a light based blind. So you want to make sure that your light element is the weakest or weak. So Prime Chaos Orb is what you're going to use to change it. This is mostly reliant on light element being weak. If you have a monster that's like all 50%, this strategy is a lot weaker, which that's not the normal monster, so you can just use a different strategy in that case. But here, so I'm just going to attack real quick, and I want you to see the blind that's here. So let's see, both hits landed. So as you can see, it's 3 rounds for 10. So what's different about this pet is the number of rounds that it's providing. Most other pets, it's 1 or maybe 2 rounds, but this guy's actually 3 rounds. Okay, as a result, if you were to get your blind up around maybe around 80 to 85, and this pet lands a new blind, what it does is it bugs out, and it will drastically increase the rounds. Like, let's say if it was 3 rounds at 80 and it landed, it might go to like 5 or 6 or 7 rounds, but it will lower the 80 blind down to around 40 or 50. But that is also part of the strategy. When it does lower, it will actually, for that round, you may get hit because of the loss of the 30 or 40 overall blind, but usually it just takes one more round to build it back up. Okay, so here we go. And now I have the Emancipator's Radiant Shield with this strategy with the blind potence. That's key. You can try it without, but your blinds will not build nearly as fast. So as you can see, it's weirding out. So now it's increasing the blind and losing rounds. So it's a very weird pet. Let's see what it does this time. Landed 1 of 2, 1 round at 33. Now we're at 0 at 53. So as you can see, it's really weird. Alright, so I'm going to kill the pet here. Now I want to talk about the Brilliance of Da. It will inflict based on light. So this will double at 200% light. And it has an MP upkeep. So we have a 29 blind at 100%. So that's 58 at 200%. So let me get celerity. This should stack if they both inflict, but because I have a celerity, it won't show anything right now. Still shows the old. That's how the Domisks work. Alright, so it's stacked. Oh, actually it is only one worked. There is a rounding issue with this misc. It's either going to be 28 or 29. It's just from turn to turn, it's real random. So that time it resisted. So as you can see, the level of blind isn't too shabby here. All right, So I'm going to pivot now. I'm going to go ahead and use Zordwarts. This is a very underrated item. Now I'm going to bring on Deary. Now Deary is an extremely odd guest. It will inflict blind before it ever attacks. You'll notice. It'll give you the verbiage. It does not have to land in order to inflict blind. It is also has a rounding issue. It'll either be 22 or 23 blind, and it also does not scale on light, so it's the same every time. On a celerity, it will stack to 44 to 46, depending on how the rounding ended up that round. Also, I'm going to show you the choke here on the... I don't normally use this, but just so I don't die here. Hopefully I won't die. I might. Just wanted to show off the blind here. So the choke is half damage. So we got a 23 blind here. So let's see if we can manage to get it to inflict this time. So let's do 2 chokes. So as you can see, it's going to inflict. It already inflicted. So now we have a 46 blind. So as you can see, it's very weird. Now I want to come over here to the actual armor. We have the Dusk stance here. For 78 SP, which is less than your upkeep per turn. So you're using a misc that costs MP, a guess that costs MP. And you get plus 12 blocking, and the monster gets negative 12 blocking. But it does increase its damage. It's basically like Berserk mixed in. So you've gained 24 to blocking. That's not reflected here. So 24 to magic blocking is 95, and then you have 90 to range, and then 93 to melee. Those numbers rival Ghost Costume. So a lot of people think Ghost Costume is like maybe the best dodge armor. The problem with Ghost Costume is you're stuck using either spells or Hunter proc. And yeah, there's no SP upkeep with it, but this armor right here, just for 78 upkeep, will rival Ghost Costume. Now, this skill here is locked to melee, so you would have to either train strength or use charisma weapons and have charisma. I wouldn't worry about this skill here. Just keep in mind that you've gained 24 blocking. You need a total of around 85 or more extra blocking, blind, the cold, and those kinds of things. Well, you're already 24 ahead of the game, and that's not even talking about if an armor has a blocking lean on it in the first place. So you don't really need but around maybe 55 to 60 extra blind or whatever to almost never get hit. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to show off with this strategy is the weapon. So everybody knows about alchemical unity, and it does blind on this mode here. So I'm going to go back to Necromancer, and it's based on damage. So like Ellie Empowers, like if you had a light Ellie Empower, or Ellie Vulns, Lucky Strikes, things like that will enhance the blind. It's nothing too bad if you just do standard damage, but when you start damage stacking, it can actually be pretty strong. Like if you were gonna do like Ellie Empowers and you have some Ellie Vulns and different things, and it's up to 5 rounds. So like this one right here was, let's see, it was 5 for 13, and then the deer went. So what you're going to do overall is just use all of them in one. So you've got your blind potence here, you got blind here, blind here, blind here, and blind here. And this is just versus 100. Now I already have 4 rounds at 13. Now it's to 24. Now we're up to 28. It still didn't hit me because you have to remember, I've got this blocking bonus here. And it's just going to grow and grow and grow in damage. 35 in blind, I mean 35, 39, 4. So it hit me that time. But usually by like turn 3 or so, you stop kind of being hit. Once you get to like mid 50s or something. Alright, so I'm gonna see if I can fight. Let's see if we can find a monster. Alright, so let's go ahead and do Prime Chaos Orb. So we got 100 to light here. So one thing you can do just to get a head start is just a quick celerity. This setup is not SP intensive, so it's not a big deal. Now the other thing about Shadowfall is every time it blocks an attack, it inflicts a darkness and light Elevon on the monster here. And you can use Zephinity Gauntlet on the backside once it's inflicted to bug it out to increase it. That increased damage will increase the blind here, so you can climb your blinds really fast. So it also will do Elevons on its attacks, so both on its attacks and its blocks. So it will increase your blinds from your weapon as you go. So right off the bat I have 30. So what I can do, hopefully this will pass. So now I'm up to 166 Elevon. As you can see, now it's 162 for 3 turns. Just go back on top here. Failed at that time. So blinds up to 51. Did get 1 hit in there. If I wanted to just try to increase my blinds pretty significantly with the attack. Looks like I didn't land the Zephinity again. So we're probably in unhittable territory at this point. Alright, so what I'm hoping to show off, and we'll see what happens, is I'm hoping that the blind will bug out, and you'll see how it'll change from however many rounds. It'll drop the blind and then bug out. Let's see if we can get it to do it. Might have to be 1 more round, but I might kill the monster this time. Let's see. Alright, just go again. Maybe we'll have a monster with a little bit more hit points here. Alright, so this time we have 115 to light. So in this case, all of these effects will actually be even better. Alright, so let's see where we end up after the first round. So we're already at 41. Alright. Again, we could do this. Bug out the Elevon is now 190. If we want to go like this. Probably significantly increase the blind now in the 50s. Maybe this turn we'll see it bug out if he doesn't die, which he might. Alright. It actually didn't. I think he missed 4 turns for 89. Let's see what happens here. Just killed it. But as you can see, I'm not really being hit by stacking these blinds. And then I'm basically increasing my own damage. Here, let's see if I can find a monster and I'll end this. A little bit more hit points here. Alright, random number generator, come on. Alright, so this may work. So I'm gonna see if I can get the 115s to 130s here. Let's see. Okay, that's good. As you can see, I'm probably not going to be hit too often. It's a group monster and it's going to be lower level here. That's up to 206. Alright, so we might see a bug out now. Let's see what happens. Maybe it's this round here. Got 93. Alright, so we just increased to 10 rounds down to 52. And then that'll end up growing to like in the 80s or so. I don't know where the trigger point is. It's like in the 80s somewhere. I want you above a certain number. As you can see, my LE Vuln is 187, so it just grows and grows and grows. And they're just gonna miss and miss and miss. And it's just gonna continue to increase my damage. Just block, 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 block. You know, if you wanted to use instead of the Alien Power for a bag of nuts, you could just do the blocking just to give you a cushion. But this stack specifically, especially if you're using the Emancipator's Radiant Shield to get the blind potence, you can beat a lot of monsters. It's basically dodge lashing LE Vuln onto the monster, increasing your damage. So that complete stack, utilizing just light resistance and those items there, pretty simple monster killing in that instance.